I don't know if you know this, but in the IT sphere, a lot of businesses pay for about, if you actually analyze what they're paying for every month in terms of services and hardware, they only use somewhere between 10 to 20% of what they
Wow.
actually pay for.
Vadim Epelbaum is the founder of Unitech, an IT innovator focused on giving businesses ownership of their data through on-premise cloud solutions.
When you talk to a business and they're like, I have no money for employee engagement programs, I have no money to expand, I don't have the money for this, that, or the other. A lot of times I go, hey, when's the last time you've looked at your IT situation? And do you have concern about your IT company? This is the other thing that we're actually really trying to build out now is kind of an audit almost.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Van Ornum back with another edition of Scaling Up Success powered by Cynergist. Cynergist is your scalable operations company that will grow your business exponentially faster at a fraction of the cost. So check out Cynergist.com. Today, I have Vadim Epelbaum on today with Unitech. So tell me a little bit about what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So Unitech is really just about giving ownership of data back to the businesses. We do that by creating on-premise clouds. So for anyone who's not familiar with the tech lingo, we just basically build servers at the business's location or a location of their choosing. And then we create a cloud for them. So the same thing that they're used to with maybe Microsoft or Google Clouds, we can do the same thing, but they actually own it.
Okay.
And so and the other side of it is just making sure that the businesses and our clients actually understand what their technology does for them and how it can scale along with their business rather than become a hindrance or just a capital expense that doesn't actually give them any value. So in a nutshell, that's what we do.
There is so much. If you own the data's kind of like what I relate to a lot of people is like it's kind of like the new oil or the new gold standard. You know, if you own that data, you can own your growth for yourself instead of having to rely on so many other people to manage your data. Am I wrong in that assessment?
Not at all, actually, and I don't quote me on this, but I believe the term is actually called the yellow economy. I don't know why they went with yellow, but it's essentially the data is the new resource, right? And if you think about it from the perspective of any kind of social media, any kind of algorithm, all of those things, they're all designed to collect data, to analyze it in different ways, and then repackage it and sell it. So, and that's what look, if you're not paying for something with money, you're paying for it with your time,
Right.
right? You are the product essentially. And that's what you are to Facebook, for example. Facebook uses your time, they sell, they show you ads and all of that. That's how they cover their costs, and their costs are astronomical. So clearly there's money to be made in it. And just because there's not cash exchanging hands doesn't mean that there's not tremendous value in it.
And that's the thing. It's like, just because you can't see it or it's tangible doesn't mean that it's not a business opportunity for your growth pattern. I mean, even if like you work on your a car repair shop or a barber shop or like there's so many different avenues that you're still, you can own your own data and still grow out from there. So I love what you're doing with that, man. And by the way, I am quoting you on that. That is now staying on the record. The
Do
so
it.
uh, what was it?
I believe it's the yellow economy or the
The
yellow
yellow
market,
economy.
something like that.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
The yellow
look at
economy.
it, like Google it first or ask some AI before you do. But I believe that's the term. It's just really weird, and it's on the research side of things. So
Well, I don't need to look it up because Vadim told me so. And that we're moving on from there. So I love that, man. So
yeah.
as you've been building out Unitech, like it's so funny when I see businesses and business owners when they hit this point and all of a sudden they're like, I'm gonna make it, right? Like
Mhm.
you seen that piece. I've seen it talk to a lot of them. and they're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where it's going to go. And then all of a sudden it's like that one point just that turning point clicked. Can you recall a time that you knew for yourself, like, hey, I got something here?
So to be completely honest with you, I think that for me, that was when I found the right partners.
Okay.
So, before our first client, even, I think it was very, very clear. And that's one of the things, I mean, this is your area, I think, more than mine, which is helping businesses to kind of figure out where they're at, how to get to
Right.
where they want to be. But the number one thing that I would say is finding the right people.
Yeah.
And there's actually a really great book that talks about that called Switch. And it's, if you've read it, maybe you recommend it to people. I very much enjoyed it. But that's the thing, right? Like, it's get the right people. And when you have that, you know that, you can make it work. And you don't know, it may be completely different than what you thought. Like, we've pivoted a little bit in Unitech even since the original inception, because we're like, oh, we can do this even better than
Right.
how we thought. And that's super neat, right? Like, it's for me, that's very exciting. And and it's why I love what you do, man. I think providing that support for businesses a lot of times when they either don't know what they need to do in order to be effective and in order to keep growing, or maybe they do know what it is that they need or that they're lacking, but they don't have the time to do it well.
Right. Or they can't get
And
out of their own way anyway.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome that, we try to do that more on the technology side. You do it kind of in a more well-rounded manner with all business facets. And so it was really exciting to, when we met, I was like, wow, this guy's got something very cool going.
I appreciate the shout out, man. And
Well,
I love what you got building there as well. This kind of actually leads me into my next question for you. Has there been any unexpected opportunities that have came with your growth that you've had with Unitech?
sorry, say that one more time.
Yeah,
I
so
choked on my coffee.
I hate when that happens, man. It's more of like the mushroom coffee is what I've heard is makes people choke up now. But
Mine is just black.
fair, fair,
No
fair.
mushrooms.
So no, like it's funny because it's like when you're talking to people when you're in this entrepreneurial journey, a lot of times you just come across somebody that just like you did not expect that person to come into your world, and all of a sudden it's like definitely taking your maybe even a slight pivot. You're like, man, what door did we just open up with this connection? Like what
Yeah.
unexpected opportunities have you seen?
Yeah, so we actually had a really interesting connection with a smaller IT company that focuses specifically on, like, the one or two users, the really small businesses,
Yeah,
startups. And it gave me this idea that to really, what I refer to as expanding the pie, right? So instead of turning away customers that aren't a good fit, which, by the way, is something that I think all businesses should do much better, that I think they fail to. I think that, what I took away from it is like, hey, we can talk to people, and instead of turning them away, we create a trusted referral network. So we may not be in the best position to help a customer. We may not be able to do it effectively, right? Like, we can do the job, but it's going to cost the customer a lot more than is necessary or what they need. But we now have referral partners. And so the pivot for us came with that we're now collaborating a lot more with what most people would consider competitors. But to us, we're like, hey, it's a big pie, right? We don't need every single customer. We're not going to be able to help every single customer. And we sure as hell aren't going to be able to do it really well. So we might as well have a trusted network and, be able to send people out, and then the consumer, our clients, potentially has a better experience, which I think is what most businesses should be doing, right? Is creating that client experience. So if they're not a good fit, hey, don't worry, we've got someone else we can send your way, and they'll take care of you.
I mean, talk a little bit about that mindset shift that you may need to have, because it's like a lot of business owners, like you said, you may quote unquote competition, but like the way that I look at it is like there's so many, like it's almost like co-opetition, like, or even, like a cooperative, opportunity instead, because you're the people that you're going after may be a little larger in the market size, that are maybe easier for, or not easier, but a better connection for you because you can have the bandwidth to help them, as
Mhm.
opposed to that smaller engagement at a lower price, maybe a lower price point or something like that, that may be a little bit needier, that, or different opportunities that, somebody else can handle in a different way. Plus, there's also like regional connections too. It's like you could have, say that you specialize just in your area, maybe somewhere across the country you have a referral partner that you're getting leads that all of a sudden come in, that you can refer those out. It's talk about that a little bit more.
So that's actually exactly it. One of the things that we are now building out, and it's going to take a little bit, right? It's not going to happen tomorrow, but we are trying to create a nationwide collaborative IT partnership. Unfortunately, like a lot of industries, IT has its share of unscrupulous businesses. Let's call it that way. Where they go in and look, when you're dealing with something that people aren't familiar with, for example, IT, right? A lot of businesses are like, yeah, it's computers. Well, there's a lot more to it.
Right.
Whenever you're dealing with a product or a service that most people aren't very well informed about, it's very easy to get one over. And so part of what I like to say is we're trying to make IT ethical again
Love
as a
that.
company. But but that's really it, right? So like we're very transparent with our pricing. Like we'll literally tell people like, hey, this is the cost. You want to go buy it on your own, go buy it on your own. We'll build it for you, right? But if you want us to do it, then we're going to charge you a markup because that's our time and our energy. So I have again, for me, this is when people trust you, that's the biggest thing. And so that trust is something that we're trying to project across a nationwide network. We're not trying to become like everything to everyone across the United States. If that happens in the next 5 to 10 years, awesome, right? Like if we can grow that big. But really for us, it's more about having those trusted, reliable partners that if you called me up from, I don't know, South Dakota, where we don't have a presence at all, I would love to be able to have someone who I have vetted as a business owner, and I can say, hey, Ryan, listen, this guy's amazing. I know he's going to do right by you, or I know she's going to do right by you. They're not going to try to get one over on you. They're not going to try to sell you a bunch of junk you don't need, or subscribe you to things that you will never use. Because right now, like, I don't know if you know this, but in the IT sphere, a lot of businesses pay for about when they look, if you actually analyze what they're paying for every month in terms of services and hardware, they only use somewhere between 10 to 20% of what they actually
Wow.
pay for.
Wow.
10 to 20%, right? So like when you talk to a business and they're like, I have no money for, whatever, employee engagement programs. I have no money to expand. I don't have the money for this, that, or the other. A lot of times, like, go, hey, when's the last time you've looked at your IT situation, right?
Yeah.
And do you have, and hey, not every, if you're concerned about your IT company, this is the other thing that we're actually really trying to build out now is kind of an audit almost.
Yeah.
I haven't even come up with a name for what we're going to call it, but it's acting as this kind of second, like where we can come back, even if you have an IT company and maybe they've done good by you, we can take a look and say, yes, that is like they're doing right, right? Like this is good. What you have is fine. Or we can come in and say, maybe consider getting a few other quotes, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't like throwing people under the bus, but you run into it enough, unfortunately.
Right.
And that's, people get multiple bids on things, especially on capital projects. But people don't usually validate things and they'll stick with the same company and for years and years and years. And then they turn around and go, oh my God, I've been paying for all this stuff that I don't even use. Why? Think
Right.
about how much money, like if I came to you and I said, right now, I can save you, I don't know, 7,000 bucks a month.
Right.
Just in cost cutting, not in like you're not losing anything else. You're just not paying for the things you don't use. What could you do with that money? Right. Like, and so that's what we're trying to really ramp up and create. And I think it'll be very interesting.
I love that, man. That is some gold right there. Literal and figurative gold that you were helping clients out with and bringing transparency to it. And I feel like there's a lot of that happening in the last couple of years across many genres of business, and I respect you for doing that. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So as you're kind of looking at the whole environment of like the IT side of things, how has like the social environments that you've seen, okay? Like the the way that our country is kind of navigating different things, has it affected your business at all, or do you just kind of keep with what you're doing and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep blinders on and keep doing what I'm doing?
Sadly, I am not one of those people that can roll with blinders. I oftentimes I wish I could, man. I really, really do. But unfortunately, yeah, no, we've been affected in a lot of ways. Obviously, the instability, with pricing. I recently had to email someone on a bid that we put out to set up their system and their cloud. And I'm like, look, I'll eat like up to 10% of the difference in price of hardware, the fluctuation. But if it goes more than that, like I have to pass it on to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And yeah, yeah,
Wow.
because of the tariffs. Because some stuff like it's going up astronomically. So one of the other things we actually try to do now, and this is really funny that happened, we try to build what are called green servers, or at least that's what we're calling them. And that's where we're going in. And instead of buying like brand new stuff from, you know, Dell or pick your other manufacturer, IBM,
Mhm.
we'll go through and we'll get stuff that's 2 or 3 generations old.
Okay.
Because for a lot of businesses, they don't like if you're a restaurant or if you're some kind of like a small service shop,
Hmm.
you don't need the latest and greatest top of the line, whatever. And because we're also certified Dell techs, right? Like not me personally, I don't know anything about IT. We can do that, right? Like we can build a server, we can still warranty it. Dell will actually provide a 3-year warranty on all the parts and labor and we'll service it. But the cost of those things has skyrocketed because
Wow.
everyone now is buying the stuff that's already in the States.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, the new stuff is going to double in price. So we're going to, increase the price of the older generation things by 2 or 3 or 4,
It was like when
um,
new car sales during the COVID era
yep.
had 0% financing, and then all of a sudden used car sales just shot through the roof because they didn't have the CPUs for the new cars
Yeah.
at the time. So
Yeah.
like,
The chip shortage.
right, right. I remember that as well. So no, that's point well taken, man. I thank you for dropping some knowledge for our audience base today, bro.
Yeah,
Really
for sure.
makes a big difference on that piece. So as we kind of get close to wrapping this thing up, I could talk to you for hours. We have in the past. So I love what you got going on there. If you could give a little bit of insight to maybe that excited entrepreneur that wants to get into the IT space, what is like
Mhm.
one piece of advice that you would give somebody on their beginning of their entrepreneurial journey?
The entrepreneur that wants, let me just make sure I got you
Yeah.
correctly. Entrepreneur that wants to become an IT company or a company that's like looking to take ownership of their data? Like
No,
which
someone
one
that
are,
wants to start it themselves.
oh, start it themselves. Find the right partners. Typically people who are driven and do IT well. This isn't true of everyone, right? But on average, right, they're not going to be the best at running a business. And I don't know if I said this to you, right? But a lot of times, like plumbers, electricians, etc., they might be masters of their craft,
Right.
but they don't know the first thing about running a plumbing company or an electrical company and whatever. And those are people that you can help, right? Those are
Right.
your ideal clients. And so I would say the same thing, right? It's increase your knowledge base and network with people who have the knowledge that you do not. Go outside of that IT circle, go outside of that technology circle, and go talk to, people who live and breathe business because they will make you successful. And, but the other side of it is build trust. If you don't have trust, forget it. Don't start your company, like don't do it. Just, sit back, take a nice job, corporate job, whatever it is. But if you're an entrepreneur, you want to get into the space, get the right people on the bus to quote Switch.
Man, that's some gold right there as well, man. You were just killing the game on this episode, my friend. If people are interested in your services, how can they get a hold of you?
So they can visit unitech.com. I'm assuming you'll put the spelling and
Down
all of
below.
that. Yep. And then if they want to reach out to me directly, Vadim@unitech.com. It's that simple. And I'm happy to chat with anyone and answer any questions.
Awesome. Vadim, always a pleasure talking to you, man. I can't wait till the next time that we get to see each other in person to hang out and continue, our conversations. Because I love the way you think. I love the way that you're building out Unitech, man. Keep it up, and best of luck in everything that you got going on, my friend.
Same to you. Thanks so much for having me, Ryan. Take care.
Absolutely. Once again, Ryan Van Ornum from Scaling Up Success podcast, powered by Cynergists. And I hope you guys have enjoyed every one of our podcasts. And thank you so much for being a part of it. Have a wonderful day.